Welcome back to On the Beat. Isaac here again this week, and today's topic is marital division of assets in a divorce. And I have with me Crowell Gillis Cooper, and of the three, Will Cooper joining us this morning. Appreciate you being here.
It's good to be here.
All right, so marital division of assets in a divorce, a mouthful. You're talking about the courts dealing with this. So what is the first step? Kind of tell us, set the scene.
Yeah, correct. So, to get a divorce in Mississippi, there are two ways. You either have grounds. There's 13 grounds for divorce, or you have what's called an irreconcilable difference divorce, a no fault. In that situation, the parties divide the assets. They have to agree to it. The situation we're talking about today is where somebody has filed for a divorce, and then you're actually at the trial in front of the chancellor, and he's got to divide the assets.
Okay, so is that where the two parties would not agree, I guess?
That's correct. I mean, well, like I said, if you're going to get a divorce by irreconcilable differences, it has to be agreed to. In this situation, you are actually trying the grounds for divorce. The court's going to decide whether you're entitled to one. And then the second thing they're going to do after that is they decide, of course, child custody if children are involved, but then they've got to divide the assets. And that's what we're talking about today.
All right, so again, once they determine the assets that needs to be divided, I guess the second question, can non-marital property become part of it?
Well, so what happens is the court has to first decide what's marital and what's non-marital.
Okay.
The parties always fill out what's called an 805 disclosure, where they list all the assets. But then what the court has to do is they hear testimony, and they have to decide, the court has to decide, the chancellor, the judge, he has to decide what is marital and what is non-marital.
Okay.
And so once that's decided, the question you ask, can non-marital sometimes become marital? And there are two ways.
Okay.
You can commingle your assets. For example, you could have money in a checking account that was solely yours prior to the marriage. But if you put that in a joint account, you have commingled those funds, and now those are marital assets.
Okay.
The other way is called the family use doctrine.
Okay.
Good example of that is you have a house. You have it before you're married, solely in the husband's name. But your wife moves in there, you all have children, you use that house. Many husbands think, that's my house. But actually, because of the family use doctrine, it became a marital asset, which the court divides.
And would that have been the case if no children were had, or not?
It would still be the case even if the wife has moved in that house and used that house.
Perfect.
It would become hers too.
Okay.
And keep in mind, she would always have homestead rights there as well, which can come into play.
All right. And last one for you. After the court characterizes the assets, what happens next?
You characterize the assets, and most people think, well, then it's a 50-50 equitable division because Mississippi's an equitable division state. But it's not necessarily 50-50. So the court then looks at what's called the Ferguson factors.
Okay.
And there are 8 of them, and we probably don't have time to discuss them all.
Give us the top one.
Yeah, but
top two.
the main one is substantial contribution to marriage. So you got a husband out there making all the money, so he automatically assumes, well, I should get the vast majority of the assets.
Sure.
But in reality, you've got to look, well, that wife raised the children. She may have contributed to his education. She stayed at home while he did all the work. And so you look at those factors, tax consequences, what you brought to the marriage, and all those kind of things.
Okay. Well, that's, again, we could go on and on
We
with
could.
the 7 other factors, but, some good information, good tips there, and we sure appreciate you spending some time with us this morning, Will.
Well, thank you.
All right. And if you have any additional questions or need any additional information, the information you need there is listed on your screen. We'll be right back.